The medical system fails you because you think you're dying and your heart rate is racing, your chest is tight, your muscles are spazzing, you can't walk because you're so dizzy, the room is spinning, and they're telling you that you haven't. I've been wanting to share this story, but I've been feeling like shit. I've been in and out of the hospital for the past 2 months now, and okay, I'm gonna try to do this without crying. So I want to share my experience and how I believe that the medical system failed me by misdiagnosing me 3 different times. And my family had no idea what was going on. We didn't know how to help myself, and I was incapable of taking care of myself. August 18th, at 10 o'clock at night, I started violently throwing up, had diarrhea. My heart was racing really fast. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My chest was tight. I was really dizzy, and it all came on like that out of nowhere. I went to throw up, and I was like, babe, I was telling my husband, I was like, I can't breathe. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Mind you, I've never felt like this before, never gotten dizzy in my life. So we rushed to the emergency room. They ran a CAT scan on me, and they did x-rays on me to make sure that I wasn't having a heart attack. They checked out my heart and stuff like that. They found that my heart was fine, but they couldn't figure out why my heart rate was going up, why I was throwing up. So they put me on Zofran, and they put me on Pepsid, and they put me on like an anxiety medicine. They're like, it's looking like you might have something that's viral, so that's something that you might have to let pass. So they sent me home, and they were like, if it gets worse, you have to come back. So I got home like 6 a.m. that day, and by 11 o'clock that night, I was back in the emergency room, heart rate going up higher, the symptoms were worse. And I was shook because my heart rate is going high and my chest is closing in. Then I started feeling tingles in my arms. I started getting muscle spasms, so I would like twitch like that. And I was freaking out. I'm like, what is going on? So they're like, oh, you sure it's not anxiety? I'm like, no, like I've had anxiety for my whole life. Like I know when I'm having a panic attack, and at this point in my life, I only had a panic attack once. I'm like, this is not like I'll be laying in bed and like it comes on out of nowhere. I'm not like actively worried about anything. So they're like, you sure? They're like, well, it looks like you might have POTS. And so they tested me for it, and then they realized, well, no, it's not looking like you have POTS because it wasn't my blood pressure that was going up. It was my heart rate. They gave me stronger meds. I think they gave me, was it an oxy? They gave me something stronger, and that felt good in the moment. And then they sent me home to follow up with a cardiologist. So that Friday, this was Tuesday that happened. That Friday, this whole time I'm still having the same symptoms. It's not getting any better. I can't go to the bathroom by myself. My husband has to carry me to the bathroom. He has to cook all the food for me. He has to change me. He has to do everything for me because if I get out off the bed, I'm like, I can't stand up. Like the world is spinning. And yeah, so that Friday I go to the cardiologist. And the cardiologist was like, well, he tried to single out POTS and whatnot. And he was just like, okay, you definitely don't have POTS, but it's looking like you have vertigo. And I'm like, okay, but what's causing it? Because like the dizziness is not, it's one small piece of everything that I'm experiencing. He was just like, well, you look perfectly fine to me. And I'm like, and he's like, well, did they test your brain? Like did they do any scans on your brain at the ER? And I was like, no. He's like, well, that's weird. Like if you're having muscle spasms and tingling, like why would they not test your brain? They're only testing your heart. And so he was like, to be honest, if I were you, I would go back to the emergency room tonight to make sure that, you know, to rule out any like stroke or anything like that. So that sent me into a loop. So that night, I waited as long as I can because, you know, the best time to go to ER is like late at night. And so I went to the ER at like 1 a.m. The following morning, I guess, which is Saturday morning. And they admitted me. They admitted me to the ER. My heart rate was going sky high, and they could not pinpoint what the heck was going on. And so they admitted me to the ER. And that was my first time in my entire 36 years of life that I had to stay in the hospital. And they couldn't, well, I'm going to save that for part 2 because this is getting really long. So if you want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know if you want to see part 2, and make sure you're following me so you can get the updates and the notifications of when I post, because I plan to show you guys how they misdiagnosed me, and they just like run me through the system without really actually finding a problem, and how I had to turn to a holistic practice to get the answers that they never gave me.